Welcome back to No Springs Attached. I've been really looking forward to today's episode, not just because our guest is a Mr. Universe winner and world-class bodybuilder, but because he brings such a rich personal journey into the world of training, discipline, and performance, and also happens to be a good friend and ex-colleague of mine. So Ty, I'm honestly so excited to have you here. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure. Obviously, like you said, ex-colleague, we go way back. So it's good to always catch up. Now we're catching up on a podcast. It's great.
It's exciting, right?
Yeah.
So for the audience, I want to get to know you a bit. Obviously, I know, but for the listeners, what pulled you into bodybuilding in the first place? Can you just go into your journey from the very early days to standing on the world stage?
Absolutely. So from the start, I was into, like action figures, right? So like cartoon, Marvel. I've always been like infatuated with these characters from a kid and watching WrestleMania, The Rock and everyone, doing all that. As I grew older, I just thought, how could I look like these guys? So I went to the one place that could make me look like these guys, which was the gym. So I started working out, pumping weights. I actually started off at the same gym as Arnold Schwarzenegger did, which is in Forest Gate, London here. And the gym is called WAG Gym. So it used to be like an old church, but then it transformed into a gym. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he used to go to that gym. And, that was a motivational type, story. I always throw that in there. Everywhere I go, I'm like, yep, he went to the same gym as I started as well. So my destiny has been, But anyway, it was great in that gym. It was very rough, like really like old school type, weights and things like that in there. And we used to just go in there, a lot of like, street kids just wanted to like pump weights. And from there, I just kept on developing the physique. I was kind of blessed as well because genetically I've always had a six-pack and I've always had like the cuts, but I never had the size. I always struggled to make, gains, as they say. So I was always struggling with that. So fast forward, got into working in the city, Tottenham Court Road, with Fisher Investments, investment firm. And I was going to the gym down there, and there was a personal trainer who saw me and was like, you could do well with your physique. You could just get into like, making money. How about actually you don't pay for these supplementation, like, because I'm trying to get big, you go in and try to get supplements. So how about you don't, pay for those, because you can get sponsored. I was like, say no more. I'm doing it. I'm in. I'm saving some money. Why not? So, and we did, and then he started coaching me, like the shows, right? And so I started getting myself prepped for like Musclemania, Europe. And this was Musclemania European and Commonwealth, which was in 2012. And we had the whole team, and I was psyched up, came up with a whole routine of like dancing, because I've always danced and I always had like, this flexibility thing with the, bodybuilding. You check it out. And so, yeah, we went in there, and that's how I got into winning the Mr. European and Commonwealth. And we were like, listen, we're not done here. I'm like, let's take it to Miami, because Miami is a different, beast in itself, because we got like the whole, world coming in to compete, as opposed to just European and Commonwealth. So the whole team Britain, we just gathered up together. I had like 5 guys deep go straight to Miami with me, and we brought the title back home as well. So that was a round of applause moment, I thought.
Yeah,
and I was like,
100%.
Listen, we did it, guys. I didn't want to take all the credit because I had all these guys, cheering me on as well. But God obviously, like, blessed it as well, because that's always number one. And, like working hard and everything kind of like just came to fruition. So, yeah, that's what the story was. I hope that gives you an idea.
Yeah, it does. And from the person I know, you're incredibly disciplined. Like even just before we started recording, you had your food prep, you had your meal prep, you're eating, it had to be on time. And that's kind of, it's sort of like that goal setting mindset. You've got a goal and you do what it takes to get there. Yeah. Which kind of brings me on to one of the things I wanted to talk about. It's that bodybuilding is incredibly laser focused, and you're training for specific numbers, you're training for outcomes on certain dates, and it's a very goal driven sport. Yeah. How do you set those goals for yourself? Are you the kind of person who thrives on deadlines or say visuals?
Both, I think, because because bodybuilding is all very physical. So you're looking at your body all the time, seeing how it's looking in front of the mirror, constantly looking. People think you're vain, but it's really a little bit deeper than that because you're sculpting, right? So you're sculpting your body. You want to have the best aesthetically pleasing physique on that stage. And in order to do that, you have to be obsessed with the way your body looks from every angle. So while you're training, you're pumping your biceps or your triceps. You want to make sure that maybe the outside of the part of the biceps is popping a little bit more than the inside. So that when you're flexing, from this angle or that angle, you're given the same kind of appearance. And it's all aligned as well, as opposed to having like a bicep pop more than your tricep. So you're always looking at all these details. I know it's crazy. Well, you're good. You're good. Symmetry is good. You don't have any problem in that department. But it's really, attention to detail is very, very important. And people might think, oh, these guys are vain, but you really have to look in the mirror and make sure that everything is. So I would look and also have a target and say, maybe I have a weight target that I want to hit. So whilst trying to build that muscle, it has to be in the right areas, right? So we have a weight target for, say, bigger calves, because my calves always been weak, so I always put a little bit more work into it.
How would you weigh your calves, though? I know that sounds like a dumb question, but how do you know that's where the weight is going on or coming off?
We have like measuring tapes. You get measuring tape, they put around the calf to check. So my coach used to put around my calf and check it. And now I do the same for my clients. So that's what it is, you just check it, put a measuring tape around. And we've got calipers as well. So obviously to check the fats. But yeah, that's how we check it. You check the bicep, you can measure your bicep and see how big your arm is. Mine has gone down now because obviously I'm trying to be as normal as possible because I'm into, as you know, I'm into music, so I don't want to look too bodybuilder-ish, right? So, but I still want to have that, bodybuilder status, but not too scary. Yeah.
And it's interesting because you use the word sculpt around that you're sculpting your body, which is a bit of a buzzword in the Pilates sphere, even though it's not really where it was grounded and rooted. It was never in sculpting. And I think there's probably quite a lot of bodybuilding influence because you isolate muscles a lot. In Pilates, that you hear this a lot now in classes about isolating the muscles. And I guess, is that from bodybuilding? Does that originate, the isolating the muscles?
Yeah.
Is that part of the history that you would do?
100%, yeah. Because when you isolate whatever it is that you're doing, then you could really concentrate on that body part, and then you could really, if that's the weak area, then guess what? You can make it a strength because you're isolating that muscle and you're really going into it as opposed to doing a whole body workout, right? So it makes sense that it would have been rooted through bodybuilding because it complements what your goals are.
Yeah, and a lot of people, because obviously my perspective is very much more the Pilates perspective, even though as you know, I did do fitness before.
Yeah.
I hear the word sculpt associated a lot more with Pilates these days, or yoga tone and sculpt, or Pilates tone and sculpt than I do with bodybuilding. With bodybuilding, I think the words that come to mind are maybe more cut and bulk. Yeah. Hypertrophy, people are using that word a lot more these days. But sculpting, it's in my mind, it's almost a female way of saying that you want to build muscle. It sounds a bit sort of toned down, literally toned down.
Yeah, I see what you're saying from that perspective because I guess women would say that, but I think both, I think guys and girls will say sculpt because they want to look a certain way. So if you want to lose weight, you want to look a certain way. But you know what? Another thing as well is what I've noticed is a lot of fitness, new guys are coming to the gym and trying to, have a goal. They don't normally say, oh yeah, I want to sculpt. They just say, I want to lose weight. Right? How do you find in terms of your clients?
In terms of men, I mean, it's been a while. And anyway, when I was working, I was getting more female clients anyway. Yeah. But women always want to lose weight and they want to tone. They don't want to build muscle. Yeah. They want to tone up. Yeah. 100%. And they don't want it. I think as well, as much as I find the body positivity movement has done a lot of good for a lot of people, there has become a bit of a taboo around using the term weight loss, a lot of women don't want to use it, but actually what they're saying when they say they want to get a bit of tone, especially if an overweight person comes to me and says they don't necessarily want to lose weight, they want to tone up.
Yeah.
Part of me is thinking, okay, how do I approach this sensitively? But to see the muscle, you need to lose the fat, which means losing weight.
Yeah, yeah.
Thankfully, I don't get too many in that demographic. I often isn't the right word. I sometimes get people ask me about diet in a sense that they want advice, but they want me to summarize it in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Which is very hard to do.
Yeah.
So to those people, I'll say it's very individual. And their best bet is to seek out a nutritionist or a weight loss coach, an online one or something like that.
Yeah.
But I guess, I see a lot less of it in the reformer world than I did in the fitness world.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And I mean, I think Pilates, the way it is marketed, and also towards the root of it, it's a lot more about the journey rather than the destination. So it's something, you have a Pilates practice.
Yeah.
It's something you do frequently.
Yeah. It's really interesting. Yeah. Because, like I said, there's always a setback with that, right? And but we always look at the what's going to get you moving positively towards the goals that you have. Because when you think about like Pilates, I normally would think, oh, I'm not getting involved. But when I look into it, there's a lot of like flexibility that you're going to get in there. There's a lot of functional movements. Now, these things people might not think a bodybuilder would see as, beneficial, but it is, because you want range of motion, right? When you're training, so you get like the elongated muscle look as opposed to like shortening your bicep. You want to get that full stretch extension. Also, in addition to that, you've got options where you're in a position to do more, like you're dancing. Like I dance on stage, so I'll go on like, as opposed to like just going there like with Bartik, I'll come up through this with a cape and a mask.
That's
like Batman,
I haven't seen that. I want to see it now.
Pop in there and just like appreciate the aesthetics, guys, but at the same time I'm going to give you something you're gonna love as entertainment, and so that it's what I just thrive in that. I love to entertain, so so I could see how Pilates would work in terms of being able to merge in terms of like a bodybuilder and flexibility, functionality, all that comes with it.
Yeah, and actually reformer Pilates, because I know you've done Pilates because you've done my class before on the mat, but the reformer Pilates, it's almost like a cable machine, but instead of weights, it's resistance bands. So, well, sort of metal ones because it's springs.
Yeah.
But the thing with that is, while you can build strength, what I find is this hard balance between a practice and staying away from getting too obsessed with goals versus not having any goals and losing motivation and getting bored of it.
Right.
So do you ever find that the sort of structured goal-setting mindset can get a little bit exhausting, or is it what sort of pushes you, that keeps you going?
Yeah. I'm very like regimented in my, approach, and it just kind of works for me when it comes to like, having a structure. Structure, it just gives me like, okay, I know that this is what I'm supposed to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it, as opposed to not knowing, So I like to have like a plan of action and then go at it. I could be even a little bit too overstructured and a little bit too disciplined, because and you find that as well. Yeah, you find it as well with anyone who's won any competitions, because you're going against a lot of disciplined people.
Yeah.
So you can imagine everyone's structured, right?
Yeah,
so how are you going to set yourself aside from everybody else? You have to go a little bit crazy.
At that level, you do.
Yeah, you have to go like, like I do things like, not having water for 2 days just to be as dry as possible when I get on that stage, like that's how bad I want it. That's the question. How bad do you want it?
That's true. And that level of discipline, I feel that you have to almost be doing it professionally to execute it. But I remember you getting into trouble because you had your set meal times and you just take them and they were not happy with those breaks where we were working. So it can really creep into your day-to-day life as well. If you're going to be that obsessed, which to be a world-class level you kind of have to be, it does impact everything around you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think it's what people don't understand when they see the pictures of in the case of an aspiring bodybuilder, of a world-class bodybuilder, and in the case of someone who's into Pilates, looking at an ex-professional dancer doing it.
Yeah.
So you just have to understand that it takes so much sacrifice to get to that level.
Yeah, given that thought. Yeah, you have to, give it a good thought in terms of like how that works. And it's not something that you could just wake up and look like, right? You have to, there's a lot of work that goes behind. No one sees it. No one sees it. They just see like the end result and they're like, oh, well, yeah, that's great. But you don't really know what's going down behind the doors. And, but yeah, I think it's good to shine light into such things so that it can motivate people to see that it's realistic. You could do it. You don't have to starve yourself with water because you're not getting on stage. You don't have to get on stage. Yeah. But if you do want to get on stage and compete, that is an option. To do it at a level that is suitable to you. Everyone's different, in terms of like what they could do and what they can't do, right? So I think that, yeah, like you said, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
It is a lifestyle. To make it happen, it's not a wake up one morning, do it today, and then tomorrow you're like a totally different person. It's like continuously, that's how I took it anyway. I saw it like, I've won the show, but I'm not going to stop. I need to continue at this level in order to, be competitive wherever, online or, coaching people, just showing them I'm the best coach at what I'm doing, from a bodybuilder perspective. And so I think it's wise to look at that from that perspective.
No, I agree. And something I've noticed, it is a little bit of a generalization, so stay with me, is that men do often gravitate towards the more data-driven sports. So things that are measurable with numbers, with data. So for example, football, lifting, even like darts. Yeah. Whereas women are more drawn to aesthetic movements. So practices like yoga, dance, Pilates, where progress is far less tangible and far more subjective. And bodybuilding, it actually seems to straddle both worlds. It's data-driven. You're measuring the carbs.
Yeah, always.
But then you're judged subjectively.
Yeah.
So do you think that's part of the appeal? And why do you think bodybuilding, a sport full of numbers, has leaned so hard to the aesthetic side in terms of the competitiveness, the competition itself?
Yeah, no, it's a very good question. I think, from the aesthetics, it's a case of like you want to make sure that your physique has been shown to be the masterpiece in comparison to everybody else, right? And also the balance that you have. And you want to be undeniable as well, right? That's my goal, because I know that it's subjective. And you could say, okay, yeah, maybe he's got better physique, he doesn't. But when you look at it and when you compare it, and you could see that this physique is absolutely shredded in terms of like, given a good look, you can see like the definition and everything. And then also you can see how it stands out in terms of like from his calves to his shoulders. The shoulders are popping to the waistline, to the legs and the arms, and everything's just popping, and you can just see it. Undeniable type, workouts, undeniable type meal plans and nutrition, undeniable stage presence, undeniable type presentation, and just confidence is what one has to have as a champ when you get on stage, because you're going there thinking there's no way you're giving any of these guys this title. It's not gonna make any sense.
No.
Right? And so and to answer your question about the numbers and guys, I think guys are normally logical creatures, I think. We're very logical to try to do things like, structure and, okay, this 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah, well, your emotions don't change every day, so like you're not got these hormones fluttering around in the same way as
some guys get
some guys do, but
But I think that's probably what it is from that perspective. But yeah, from a subjective, opinion judging standpoint, I think that it's just a matter of like just making sure that you are undeniable, and your ability to portray that is grounded. You know what you're doing.
And hypothetical question here, because I guess you can't control what happens on competition day. You can do everything within your control to find the best outcome possible, but ultimately you're being judged on the look and what other people think. So if you knew that you had made progress, like massive progress of 50% compared to last time, I don't know what would be realistic, but let's say 50%, but then you didn't place top 10, would that upset you, or would you be quite okay with the fact, I know I did everything I could, and take it as a bit of a lesson and leave that stage with a smile anyway?
Yes, and that you already know what I'm going to say. You probably do, because that is the latter would be obviously the best and the most efficient way of thinking, and you're going to only improve, because when you have no regrets, then you have no regrets, and that just makes you sleep well at night. And that's what another thing I do is, like, prior to a show, I get myself into a workout mode where everything is no stone unturned. Nothing is being left out. Like, I'm working even double. Like, I'm going to the gym twice a day.
Okay.
What am I doing that's going to make me stand out to the next man? Because I know he's working once. I'm doing twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to do a little bit more than whatever they're doing. And what's really important in my mindset as well, because mindset is key to everything. You have to go into a stage winning already before you even get there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you don't win in your head, then you might as well just stay at home, cuddle up with some cocoa or something. But if you've already got yourself, like, mentally ready, saying you're going to be winning the show, they could see it in your eyes as well. Right. Everybody else would know. And then it kind of like intimidates them, especially if you now take your top off and they could see, like, oh, this guy's freaking, like, looking crazy. And he's not even looking at anyone, just ready to get that trophy. And the way I do it is I envision a show or a competition as a boxing match.
Right. So
every protein that I take is a swing at the opponent. Every cardiovascular I do is my stamina in the ring, right? And every, like, fatty, sugary substance that I'm dodging is a dodge at the opponent.
Oh, that's a really cute, like, nice analogy to sort of frame it, because you often don't see the details spoken about when you hear someone's workout journey. They talk about the actual workouts. They don't talk about the small details as much. I find that the other part that's not really talked about in bodybuilding, and maybe it's because it doesn't happen as much, is the physicality that it actually demands in terms of injury and recovery. So people often see the end result on stage without seeing all these little details. Part of the journey of any athlete that I've seen is overcoming injury. How have you managed to manage that side of it, the injury prevention, injury management, if you've ever had a serious injury, and recovery?
Very interesting, that. So remember what I told you about, the undeniable? So I was, working out one day, and this was when I was preparing for the universe title.
Right.
And I had a big dumbbell that I was lifting. I think I was doing like a chest press or something. And what I didn't do, and to pay notes, guys, do not do this at home. So learn from my lesson. So I was doing like chest, right? And one of the dumbbells that I used previously was still laying there right next to me. So when I finished that set, I dropped it. And when I dropped it, you can imagine what happened. This was my universe title I was getting ready for.
Did it bounce?
It just cracked my thumb, right?
Oh.
So I had a fractured thumb. Well, it was mildly fractured. So I had to wear a cast. I had to wear a little cast on my thumb while I was training for the universe title.
Oh my gosh.
Now, how bad do you want it is the question, right? Because that could have set anyone back. 100%. That could stop you. But God said, listen, you get yourself back in the gym and work. And I said, I'm doing it. I'm not stopping. I'm going to quit for nobody. And we just went at it. And even, it's really crazy as well. On the back of that, I did a video called Can a Bodybuilder Be a Gymnast on YouTube.
I've seen that one, I think. Yeah, that's got like millions of views.
It's got like 5.3 million views.
Yeah.
I came up with this idea because another thing about bodybuilding as well is when you're getting ready for a show, because you're so like disciplined, everything you're doing is like extra. Like you're just more like creative, or you're more like, like, I don't know, bullish. because I was in investment management, so I was doing sales as well. So I brought in the biggest deal for the company at the time as well, because I was just so bullish, right?
Wow.
So I'm like, like just very convincing on the phone. But about the thumb, so even with that thumb, we did that video, and I had an attempt at the rings, right, to do like a gymnast ring on the, Olympic style ring, and I was able to do it with the thumb, and I was able to go to Musclemania in Miami to bring the title home. So I say that to say this, like, you're going to have setbacks. There's always going to be something that's going to be spanners in the works, whatever you want to call it. It's how you pick yourself back up and you make something out of it. Life's going to throw you all sorts of things, but, are you going to sit down and just catch them, or are you going to actually just throw them to the side, get up and keep it moving, and make something out of it? So, yeah.
And actually, to be fair, not that I know loads of world-class bodybuilders, but of the people I know into bodybuilding, you're actually one of the most athletic. So you would think that the more you get into bodybuilding, the more you just pump the weights. But actually, I've seen your handstand push-up. It's pretty impressive.
That's all right.
And I'm just thinking, perhaps that's one of the secrets as well, is to maintain balance, to look after your body, because an injury will set you back. And if you're not staying balanced in your training, as you briefly mentioned earlier in terms of Pilates, range of motion, flexibility, it's actually going to help you in the long term. Because you're not going to get as injured, and overall you're allowing your body to recover. So you're not just pumping more and more weights, getting higher and higher and higher. You can challenge the body in new ways, and you're staying quite athletic in the meantime. So you mentioned that you've tried it, but in the sphere of professional bodybuilding, are things like yoga, Pilates, and functional fitness things that are commonly practiced within the profession?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you say that, because I haven't seen a bodybuilder say, "Yeah, I'm going to go to a Pilates class."
I would love that, though.
Like, you see these big guys like, "Yo, let's go Pilates." I don't see that happening.
There's plenty of videos on YouTube, but they're one-offs.
But I think that it's great, and I think that it's something that they should actually incorporate, because, like you said, it helps with range of motion, and you're easier to move weights around without having to worry about injury. Because your range I've just been lucky because I am naturally flexible as well, and that helped with like my lack of injury from a perspective of like shoulders injury, where people get a lot of those. God has been great. I haven't had any of those. I had obviously like that mishap, but that was my I don't know, just like a dropped in the wrong time, and clumsiness as opposed to like my motion in my training.
I'd agree.
So to condition your body to be able to maneuver through your workouts without having injuries.
Yeah, I mean, when we did my Pilates class together, I was so impressed. We did these Supermans where you have the arms lifted over your head. And at that time, you were huge. And I thought when I did those, there's no way he's going to do this. And there he was in this group of women. It was a group of women. Absolutely annihilating them. All jacked up, but absolutely nailing it. I was just like, he's killing it. I was very, very impressed. So you've competed at the highest level, like global, so literally the highest level, which means you've been under some serious scrutiny, judged literally on how you look. So that would kind of mess with my head a little bit if I was being judged on how I look. But how do you deal with the subjectivity of that?
I suppose, like I said, it just boils down to being undeniable again, It's just that undeniable mentality, like just fierce, undeniable outlook, and making sure that, irrespective of whoever's a judge on that stage or whoever steps on that stage, whatever they bring is not going to be comparable to what you're going to bring. That's what it is. Set your mind to winning, and then you win. Because you can't win without already seeing you win.
Do you think that confidence is something you've grown from doing the thing? Or do you think that's something that you've just always had?
I've always had it because, I don't know, I've always been competitive since a kid. So I've done shows, in my schools, and I've won shows in my school, like dancing competitions and things like that. So I've always like been that guy from an entertainment perspective. So yeah, I suppose that kind of like just merged into this like Marvel wannabe type guy on stage, jumping around like, superhero type presentations and like performances. I love it because it doesn't define you. It just shows you that you could do whatever you put your mind to, and there's no limitations in your abilities.
Yeah. So you coach a lot of, I'm going to say guys. I don't know if you do guys and girls, but
Yeah, both.
I'm both. Would you say it's mostly men or women that you coach?
Mostly men, but I do have ladies that I've coached and helped with. I even made champions as well. Like I've got women into shows and they won shows.
Yeah, I remember actually.
Yeah, so I've got some good experience in that as well.
So do all of them come with that same level of confidence? Because I'm guessing a lot of them come to you in line of wanting to compete.
Yeah.
And do they come with that confidence, or is there something you have to do to kind of help them with that?
Like the guys that have won shows that I've coached, I give them the same mindset. I give them exactly. I don't hide anything from them. I tell them exactly what I do, how I do it, and then they just need to follow it, and they just need to like stick to it, and we bring trophies home, and that's what it is when they're able to like stick to the plan and not mess around. You see results. You make it happen.
So if I came to you and said I want to compete in a show, and I did all the physical training,
Yeah.
I'm 4 weeks out. I've got 4 weeks until my competition. I'm saying, Ty, I'm not going to win this. And
No.
what are you going to tell me?
You can't have that mentality going on stage, clearly. If you say you're not going to win, you already lost. You know what I mean? There's no point in you going to the show.
But it's one thing me saying it. How would you get me to believe it?
I mean, it's a case of you just continually pushing yourself. And another thing I'll say is, if you don't want to believe it, you're not going to believe it. I'll need you to believe it. I'll need you to see yourself winning. And I'll need you to work hard at it. And also obviously give you that reassurance that whatever it is that's holding you back at this stage is not the final factor or determining factor of whatever the outcome is going to be. So what you need to realize is whatever that, is holding you back at this time, you need to shake it off and you need to get to work. You need to get to work because at the end of it, you're going to love yourself for it.
And I guess you had, when you started your bodybuilding journey, you had your coach that believed in you.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that people need, is someone to believe in them?
Absolutely, yeah. It goes a long way because if someone isn't there, then it's hard for you to see it from a different perspective. Especially like, we get body dysmorphia. I got a lot of the body dysmorphia. It's where I think like I'm not as big as I want to be, but I'm actually that really big. Like when I look back at my videos, I was big. Like I've lost a lot of size right now in comparison. But that's body dysmorphia. Everyone gets it, like especially in bodybuilding. So having like a third party give you like an outside perspective of how your body's looking, it's just only going to help you be better. And also the fact that you have someone rooting for you in your corner, someone who's already done it and won. That's always going to give you that, oh, you know what? He knows what he's talking about. Right. I'm going to rub shoulders with a champion, because what they say is the people you hang out with, you end up being like them.
That's true, actually.
Right? It makes perfect sense. So that's why I like to hang out with people with, positive mindsets and, that could help me be a better version of myself.
Yeah. And I want to come back to what you just said about body dysmorphia, that everyone has it. So do you think that's something that everyone in the world has that's kind of inherently human? Or do you think it's more that you surround yourself in a world where people are very focused on their body to the very, very, very last grain of sand, so to speak? Or do you think it is actually, I never thought about it, that maybe everyone has it a bit. Like I have my things that I'm sure other people don't see. Like I sometimes look at the mirror and I think my belly's big. I'm not hung up about it. I know objectively I'm fine. Yeah. But some days I look at it and I'm like, oh.
Right.
And then other days I have a bump on my nose. Well, that's a permanent thing that I always have.
Right.
But other days I'll see it and it looks really big. And most people don't see it until I've mentioned it. And if you look at body dysmorphia from this broader lens of that it's just you not seeing what your body actually is in reality versus a massive, massive insecurity that's detrimental on your life. It's actually quite an interesting way to think about it. And do you think a lot of people in bodybuilding have body dysmorphia to a detrimental way that it affects their lives negatively, or do you think it's actually a good thing to be so focused on your body?
I think that there's a lot of variety in terms of like, demographics or people who are suffering from body dysmorphia. I will not say that everyone suffers from body dysmorphia because I can't speak about everyone, but what I can say is that majority of people in bodybuilding, I know 100%, will suffer from body dysmorphia because we're constantly trying to improve, because you're never satisfied, because you can't be satisfied. It's a competitive sport. So what it means is you always have to continuously try to beat the next man, right? Or try to improve what you had, because last win is what everybody's been looking at. So they're looking at your physique from last time. So how do you step out of that so that they don't win that last physique? You got to go extra hard. Make sense?
100%.
Yeah. So we're going like round in circles. You've got this physique that was a winning physique last year, but that physique is not going to be the same physique you're bringing next year, because all your competitors are coming for that physique.
Yeah.
So you got to bring something else. So in psychologically, you already programmed to think my body is not good enough continuously. So you're thinking I have to constantly try to improve. Ooh, I don't like that. Ooh, that's not looking right. So that I know 100%. You're always gonna have body dysmorphia in fitness when it comes to like competitiveness. Anyway, now from a general perspective, like you said, right? You have like days you feel like your belly is a bit, not as flat as you would like it to be, and then things like that. That is a given as well. I think everyone, especially women, would find that, because I think for some reason women always like to have a perfect physique, right? So you always want to like bring your best. You want to give your best and everything, right? So it makes sense that you would want to be more, how to put it, hard on yourself. You would like to be undeniable in terms of how you present yourself. So you look in yourself in the mirror and you're looking for everything that could go wrong or is wrong, and you try to correct. So I could see that. I could see how that makes sense. But guys, some guys don't really care as much, I think. I think they're guys that would just have a big belly and be like, oh, yeah, this is where I look. And they're just like, oh, okay. Or... if they got money, they be like, yeah, I got money. I don't need to do anything about my belly. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like all sorts of scenarios. You know what I mean? Like they say they got, their bank account is working out more than anybody else, whatever they want to say. So there's all sorts of like, perspectives that people have. That I think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if guys care more or not. I think maybe they used to. I think they're starting to care a lot more.
Yeah, more now, yeah.
Because there is data on this. The exact figure eludes me, but now we're seeing the trend of body dysmorphia being more present in males, and simultaneously, in terms of females, they're starting to become more depressed. Oh. So it's kind of like a switch. It's a lot to do with women becoming very career focused and taking that almost, inverted commas, masculine approach to life of being the breadwinner, strong, independent woman, etc., that they're getting more depressed. And then maybe as a response to that, subconscious response, men are struggling to date women, and they're like, maybe it's because I'm too fat, I don't know, or like because my arms aren't big enough. Yeah. And you're getting more and more pressure in
so like strong-willed women. So you want to obviously present a strong masculine, presence.
Yeah, maybe.
to try to hold her down.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're kind of like, why do I need you? I've got the money. Yeah. I've got my house. I've got my friends. Why do I need you? I mean, this is what I'm hearing on all the podcasts. My personal
It's very dangerous, that, isn't
it?
Because then that's why we've got a high divorce rate.
Right.
And it's a very, I think it's this is my opinion. I think that it's a wrong route to take from a perspective of keeping unity in a household or having marriage or matrimony or anything of that nature. Because once we start getting into that, oh, I'm independent, or I want to be strong and I want to be like, this masculine woman or whatever it is you want to call it, then it pushes the guy away, because a man is a man and a woman is a woman, you know? And naturally, we're meant to be like breadwinners, right? And we're meant to be the ones hustling out there and bringing things in. But obviously women could do that too. That's great, and we welcome that. But at the same time, what you don't want is, you know, a situation where your woman is, see, it's very tricky, and this is very interesting.
I know, it's really interesting. It's hard.
Because you don't want your woman to be the one bringing all the money in, and then you're not bringing anything in, you know?
Yeah.
Me personally, I'll be okay with my wife bringing in money and supporting, but I'd rather be the ultimate breadwinner, because I'm a man. Like, that's what my job is. So when you're doing it more than I am, I'm like, I'm not fulfilling my obligation.
Yeah.
As a man, do you know what I mean?
100%.
But I say that not to say that a woman shouldn't feel that she wants to be entrepreneurial or be successful. Like, I support it. I'm all for it. I think that you should not limit yourself to your abilities. But I suppose what it means is you just have to find yourself the caliber of man that is at a level that will be comfortable with that, because it brings friction. It brings a lot of tension. Yeah. Now, in addition to that, from a perspective of like a woman who's like, oh, I want to be this independent woman and I could do whatever and I don't need a man or all of that. That is just, it's gonna mess up a relationship. There's no relationships being had with that mentality. No. You're not gonna be able to do anything from that perspective. You know, from keeping the man, you might as well go get married to your friends then. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if that's what you rather. So, I mean, I think it's a very dangerous situation, and there's a lot of divorces I heard as well in the UK. Yeah. Stats say, right? Yeah,
it's something like 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce.
Yeah.
That being said, I think it's 1 in 2 marriages, not 1 in 2 people. So there are many repeat offenders that are getting divorced and divorced and divorced.
Really? Get married and divorced and get married and
divorced
again?
Yeah. Like there's so there are some repeat offenders that maybe balance out the statistic. Maybe still not going to be great. Yeah. But instead of 1 in 2 people are going to get divorced, I'm trying to do the math in my head. 1 in 2 people. So I mean everyone will, because it's a little bit of a paradox there, but maybe 1 in 3 people will end up getting divorced rather than 1 in 2 as it were marriages. But yeah, I mean, just coming back to the whole body dysmorphia thing, that whole trend of now that men are starting to be the ones more with it. There's also the body positivity movement that's been highly targeted at women to the point it's almost overcorrected. That you see obesity being quite glorified. And I don't think people should be cruel.
Like what they call them, is it plus size models?
Plus size models, yeah. Yeah, so, you know, I'm all for, if you know the risk and you want to do it, fine.
What risk?
Of obesity, the health risk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are people intentionally trying to be plus size models?
I don't think they're trying to intentionally, but they're there, and you'll see models like, I think, Tess Holiday, is that her name? I'll have to look it up and then cut it out if it's not her name. Right. Tess Holiday, I think. And she's this obese plus size model / controversial influencer because she is very obese, and then she went on a vlog and said that she's anorexic. What? It's just like, what are you doing? And that's saying nuts. That obesity is healthy. Yeah. Like, I'm fine, I'm healthy. It's like, you're not.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a heart condition, your joints don't like that extra amount of weight. So the women and the female side, they've got these...
So it's not plus size, it's obese.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's the female body positivity movement that's kind of overcorrecting in making women feel very comfortable in their bodies. And I think generally that's a good thing. Because you don't want body dysmorphia. You don't want, like in the 90s and early noughties, this rabid anorexic kind of trend where a lot of girls were anorexic, bulimic, and of course that still exists. but far less. Whereas men don't have those role models now. Their role models are still the Bradley Coopers, the Chris Hemsworths, all with their six packs in the films.
Yeah.
As if that's how you're meant to be every single day of the year.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we need like a male body positivity movement to come along.
All about obese guys.
Maybe you try not to overcorrect.
Maybe I'll be that guy. I got some cookies. I got some cookies in the back. I need to just stuff my face. It's my cheat day, so I'm gonna have some cookies and see if I could be this obese male figure.
There you go. Maybe you'll go viral. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Just eat the cookies and say it's healthy.
My body doesn't even let it. It's just like no.
It feels rubbish, doesn't it? It feels awful. And this is the thing, like. It's choose your hard. It's hard if you're overweight to give up rubbish food and exercise. But it's also hard being overweight and feeling terrible once you've had a taste of how it feels to be mobile and not be out of breath walking up the stairs.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like, oh.
Like when I was big, right? Big. You remember how big I was.
Yeah, you were massive.
But I didn't really realize how restricted I was in comparison, right?
Yeah.
But because I was still somewhat flexible, because I'm naturally flexible.
Yeah.
So when I lost the weight and I'm moving around, I'm like, oh my God, like I could move my arm like easily.
So free.
You know, I could like go to my back, like, you know, touch my everywhere like easier. And I don't want to go back. Yeah, I feel like a Pilates
princess
connoisseur, as you're something like, you know. Yeah.
Carrying on from the body dysmorphia topic, because it's also very rife in the Pilates world. In Pilates, we're not looking for massive biceps and six packs, but I feel a lot of women come to it looking for a ballerina aesthetic, which is also not attainable unless you're a full-time ballerina, and it comes at the cost of eating too little, feeling weak and injuries.
Yeah.
In your experience from the bodybuilding perspective, how do you stay grounded in a world that is so image focused?
I think, like I said, it's a lifestyle as opposed to, you know, say like a one-off, or I'm just doing it tomorrow and then I'm going to stop and go back to doing something else. I think it's just a case of like just having a mindset to continuously, you know, going towards that, you know, end goal of the ultimate physique. Like I have a goal and I'm never going to stop because I'm always trying to beat my last physique. Remember I told you about that mindset? Yeah. So my mindset is like, even if I'm not in a competition, it's still come with me to where I am now. Like even my day-to-day life that's how I stay grounded, is how can I beat my last physique? How can I beat my physique? Like I'm constantly taking pictures and I'm, you know, uploading it, motivating people online, and they get motivated, send me messages about it, you know, and it pushes them to be better because that's how they stay grounded, right? When they see my photo come up with my six-pack and it's like, oh man, he's looking good. Oh, I got to hit the gym.
Yeah.
Right? That's motivation. So that's how they stay grounded. So that helps me stay grounded because I know that I'm not doing it just for myself. I'm also motivating a lot of people out there that see it and they can see like, oh, wow, okay, I like that physique. Maybe I could get that too. And I make it realistic because now I'm not this like big old bodybuilder. I'm more my physique is more attainable now because it's not as big. And I like that because I feel like it's more relative to a lot of people. So that's, to answer your question, I've got a lot of like things that keep me grounded, and that would be, you know, giving that thought about other people, like my fans or whoever supports me, to keep them motivated. That keeps me motivated, and then also me just trying to be better than I was.
Nice. And then I think what a lot of people forget as well is that tiny little bit of fat here or there, you're better off focusing on how you carry yourself. If you're not competing, if you're just walking around day to day, things like how to flex your biceps, so you can build it really big, but it doesn't matter if you don't know how to show it. Same in Pilates, you can have like a really nice lean toned figure, but if you're hunched over, your belly's always going to be popping out, no matter if you've got a completely flat belly.
Very true.
Same with what it exudes. which everyone says they want to be slimmer or bigger or leaner. What they really want is to feel confident. And actually, it's not the start and finish look for a lot of people. It's actually the journey and the discipline of it, as well as carrying yourself in that way. Like I look so much slimmer if I just lift my chest. And if I get into the habit of doing that all the time, in my classes I try to do as much as I can, but given I'm bent over, the reform is it becomes a bit tricky. And people forget that they can just focus on those things, especially when it comes to exercise. Because at least in Pilates, if you're looking to lose weight, your main work is at home in the kitchen. The Pilates, it's more about the confidence, better sleep, because sleep is important for digestion.
Absolutely.
It's about posture, so how you carry yourself, how you present yourself. And also that motivation, like being surrounded by people who look like you want to look, it can be very intimidating. But on the flip side, it can also be quite motivational, which is coming back to what you said about posting your pictures to kind of motivate. So what kind of tips, or I won't say exercises, but in terms of how someone can carry themselves better to give themselves a body that is maybe more bodybuilding aesthetic-ish, what kind of advice would you give to people?
So from a confidence perspective, right? So from a confidence perspective, I would say it's wise to go with certain bits of the body that would make you pop. So I'm talking about like shoulders. For guys, we want big shoulders that would, in the chest that's reasonably sized. You don't want like titties. But just,
True.
well, some guys do, but I'm not going to. But yeah, you want a manly man pectoral, if that makes sense. So getting the pecs, shoulders, your arms. Arms are always good because they pop in like shirts and t-shirts or anything of that sort, right? And obviously your legs, you don't want no twin legs either. So it's all about balance. So I would say like those kind of things. But like you said with like Pilates, nutrition is a big part. Nutrition is a big part in everything, everywhere. And it's very important as well. Sleep, like you said, oh my God, like people sleep on sleep. They sleep on sleep as how important sleep is. Like sleep is very important. Your digestion, it releases your NAD as well. It's got NAD. It's really good from a perspective of rejuvenating you and just getting you to be the best version of yourself. Functionality, your neurosenses are awake. You're working better, smoother. So if you're not going to prioritize anything, make sure you prioritize sleep. That's why I've been taking very seriously of recent as well. And I've been seeing like the effects now that I'm studying about, the NAD plus and how that, helps your body be a better version. That's one of the ways of doing it naturally, right? To get good sleep, 8 hours of sleep. And I said it in the 10 Health Commandments, obviously you heard the 10 Health Commandments, the song I made.
Yeah.
And this was a song I did and was blessed by the Obamas or performed it at the White House. And
so cool. I've been telling everyone that.
Yeah, that itself is a blessing and a big time because it just gives you that motivation. You want to ask me how I stay grounded in music? That's how I stay grounded in music because I know that, God has blessed me to be in, places like perform with Dougie Fresh, the guy that invented beatboxing, like
That's
hip-hop.
so cool. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, he invented it and we performed it together in New York. So that as well, that's another reason, it did give motivation and it still does till now to get my mind into like giving people good music, giving them the information they need to be better, using music as a way of teaching them about health, longevity, how they could be better versions of themselves. So if you guys haven't checked it out, make sure you check out 10 Health Commandments. Good segue in there, I thought.
Yeah, it's a good track as well. It's like proper pump
the muscle.
Pump the muscle. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
But it's like proper, if you're ever looking for a track
to
to put on your Instagram story,
exactly.
of you working out, it is absolutely perfect.
Make sure you check it out. That and Yalla. Yalla as well is another good track.
I had that in my Pilates class at one point. I was
playing
it on Spotify during my classes.
Record it. Yeah, record
yeah. It's been a while. It's on one of my playlists though. I was like playing it during the middle of the class. That one, I like that one. That's really catchy. It's got a good beat.
Yeah, it's got that Afro beats type vibe to it.
Yeah, I like that one. I have to say, I like Yalla the most. It's
Yeah,
just so
everyone
catchy.
says
It's like
that.
on a holiday.
Yeah.
Yalla,
Everyone says that.
It's just listen to it, okay, and you'll know what I mean.
Make sure you check it out. Yalla is a song I did when I went out. I was in Kuwait, so I was the face of the biggest supplement distributor out there. I learned Arabic, came back, and I thought, how could I make a song that could complement my visit? And Yalla came about. So make sure you check out Yalla. Yalla.
Exactly. Okay, but you were really into your supplement, so you're working for the brand then, and you're into NAD plus now. And as you said, sleep is one of the ways you can get it naturally.
Absolutely.
But then you can also supplement it.
Yeah.
So if we can get it naturally, what would be the benefit to taking the supplement?
A very good question. So we don't always get our sleep.
It's very true.
We don't always get to get all the the hours in a day because things happen, right? And so this is a supplement, comes in and kicks in, and it just helps to complement where you go wrong or where things happen, which they will. You can't get 8 hours sleep every night. Things happen. So the supplement will help keep that. And just to give you guys an idea of what this NAD plus is, it's something that we all have in our bodies. And as we grow older, it depreciates because, it's just the way our bodies work. And one of the things that it does is it helps with degeneration. And so we are prone to aging, obviously, as it depreciates, because it's what it naturally does. Now, supplementation helps to prolong you having the NAD+, so you look younger for longer. In addition to that, you get quicker recovery if you go into workout or anything of that sort. And also, prior to your workout, say you want to get some energy, what it does is it uses the nutrients of the food that you eat as energy, and it uses it to the best of your ability. And so you've got this all-around, great supplement that could just boost your whole longevity and your looks and and everything. And even I've heard things about libido. I'm not gonna say too much about it, but it does a lot of wonders in the body. And right. So I obviously give a talk about it. I like to lecture people about the supplementation, NAD Plus Wellness, and you could get 10% with Ty OG10. On the website, so I'm sure we'll put a link out
100%.
Just in case you want to check it out and ask me any questions. I'll be more than happy to help you with that.
Yeah, we'll put them in at the end as well, so if you missed that, don't worry, it's going to be at the very end as well. Ty will say all of his socials and any discount codes.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to reiterate or emphasize the fact that's about sleep being so important, especially as a lot of women I meet in my world, professional, busy working women, it's normal to not get enough sleep in London because you have your job.
Yeah.
Then you have the obligatory work drinks or staying at work late, plus your commute, plus your workout, and then you end up sacrificing sleep to fit all of it in. And sleep, especially for us women, I think, if we're trying to hit a goal in terms of things like cravings, moods, etc., I notice the difference immediately when I don't have enough sleep. So if I have less than 6 hours sleep on one night or a stretch of less than 8 hours sleep for a few nights, then that is where my diet goes to absolute pieces. I will just start picking the bad stuff.
Yeah.
I'm craving that sugar.
Yeah.
So is that something that the supplement helps with? Is say I'm on a 3-night stretch of having only slept 6 hours a night.
Yeah.
So it would help.
It would because exactly, because your NADs are low. So what's happening now is that you're picking them back up by taking the supplement, so that whatever you've lost, you're able to replenish with the supplementation. And so you find that you are not in a position where you feel like all these setbacks that come with you not having the sleep that you normally would are popping up. You've got this supplementation, which is a little cheat code because it just means that you could do better even whilst not getting as much sleep. But it's still advisable that you get your sleep in. Because can you imagine like you going 8 hours a night and you're taking your NAD, how great that would be for your body.
It'd be like that movie. What's the one with Bradley Cooper? Limitless.
Which one is that?
Where he takes the pill
of
focus and he's able to achieve a lot because he's so focused.
Well, I need whatever he's taking if that was good. But, yeah, so it's really a game changer.
I'm actually curious. So you take it. So you've clearly got some anecdotal evidence on this. Do you know of any research or studies that have been done that confirm how NAD plus is helping people?
Absolutely. I mean, if you could just Google it and check it out, you see like tons of, proof and evidence of what it does. And, and the good thing about us is that we actually have the nasal spray, and no one has a nasal spray in the market. So everyone's got like tablets and they do IV drips, but they don't have the nasal spray. The company that's producing our NAD in South Africa, they actually have been doing it for 50 years. So 50 years is a long time to show that there's no traces of any side effects or any negativity. So whoever's coming in, like small-time players, everyone's trying to do it, which is fair enough. But, the company's been going 50 years, and, long-standing. So the credibility in itself is, phenomenal, right? And so, that's the confidence that we have. That's why I feel confident to back it and say, this is great. And, and they don't do anything else. There's no like, oh, we do that and we do this, and waters it down. Prime focus is NAD going into your system, making sure it's doing what it's supposed to do, and just making you a better version of yourself.
And you told me earlier before we started recording that the company was based in South Africa. Do you notice if it's something that's more popular over there? Maybe it's really popular here. I just haven't come across it. But do you know if it's really popular over there? Because I guess if it's been going 50 years over there, then people must be taking it.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It just got more popular over here when the likes of the Kardashians and Justin Bieber mentioned it. And then everyone heard about it. They're like, what's this NAD thing? Yeah. And then they're like, oh, yeah, because obviously they're highly influential. So when they say things, people listen. Yeah. So, and then now everyone's like, oh, NAD. Because they didn't know, but now this is something that could help you, be stronger, just be a better version of what you were, like looking into it. That's pretty much what it's about.
This has been such a rich conversation. Thank you for being so open, honest, and insightful. It's always so interesting and refreshing to hear someone who's at the top of their game speak with both heart and brains. Before we wrap up, can you just remind people where they can find you online and if there's anything exciting coming up that you want to shout out?
Absolutely, guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Make sure you check me out on social. I'm over there on Instagram at Ty Ogedegbe. And my website is www.tyoghd.com. I've got a lot of music coming out that's going to motivate you to be the best version of yourself. And if you haven't checked it out already, make sure you check out all the songs. They're there for you to, use it for your workouts or whatever it is that you're doing, just to get you going as motivation and anything else. Also, we got fitness goals. I help you with fitness, get you looking better, get you looking right, tight. If you want to get on stage, we do a lot, man. So just jump on the website, send me a message, hook up with your boy, and let's make it happen.
And do you want to remind us of the discount code and where they can find NAD Plus if they want?
Absolutely. Also, with regards to your discount to the NAD Plus we spoke about, you just need to jump on my Instagram and, click on the link in the bio, and it'll take you to it. All you need to do is use TyOG10, and you get 10% discount on whatever supplementation on the website. Okay, so let's make it happen, guys.
So I really want to thank you again for joining us. And if you love this episode, be sure to leave a review, share it with someone who trains hard or thinks deeply about movement, and always keep showing up for your body and mind. See you next time.
See you next time.
Or I'll introduce it, but you're going to have to tell me how to beatbox and give me a couple of demos.
I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be the
Boom,
beat.
boom, pch, boom, boom, pch, boom, boom, pch, boom, boom, pch. Pilates is cool. Pilates is fun. Come to Pilates and you're number one. Boom, boom, pch,
I
boom,
like
boom,
that.
pch, boom, boom, pch, boom, boom, pch. I made that up on the spot right
That's
now.
pretty cool.
Oh my goodness. Whew. It's
like
stressful. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you get to pick your own beat?
You'll go.
I just like spat on the microphone.
So I was just thinking, are you going to? You could freestyle to the beat, right?
Okay. Okay. Do you think I'm a good rapper?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna do my best.
And then you're gonna do the beat, and then I'll do a freestyle as well.
Okay. Can you give me a rap? So Pilates, bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Pilates, bodybuilding.
Podcast.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give it my best shot. Right. We'll see.
You ready?
Okay.
Let's go.
Welcome to the Pilates podcast show. We're here with Ty, whose second name starts with O. I like Pilates and I like bodybuilding. It is fun and I'm always thrilling. Give me a beat, cause I can beatbox now. There's Pilates moves and one's cat-cow. I made that up on the spot. Let's be kind. That wasn't bad. Yeah. Bro. All right, your turn.
All right, pick a beat. Pick a beat.
Okay.
Pick a beat.
Boom, boom, ch, boom, boom. Wait, sorry, I'll start again.
All
boom. I don't have like the thing.
Don't worry. Just give me a plain beat.
Okay. Boom, boom, tss, 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 boom, boom, tss.
Okay,
boom,
so
boom,
we in here making it happen already. We starting to rap. Rapping is something that we love. You gonna clap. If you don't like it, get a rap. Get out of here with that. We doing it live and direct as we doing. Pilates and a little bodybuilding. What you wanna feel? What you wanna do? We're gonna show you how we do it. Yeah, come through. Make it happen. Mind and grind. You already know. It's about that time. Y'all are ready. We're gonna show you everything we doing. Forever we ready.
Wow, that's so impressive. I did not listen to the words because I was so focused. Don't lose the beat. That was so good. I'm really impressed with both of us. Yes.
All right, and another one here.
Yes. So good. I'm so glad with that.
We're right.